go.
Any moment
Pro tip, don't look at just the first letter of your scene name when you're switching scenes.
Are we alive now?
We are live.
Ahoy hoy and welcome to Players and Book. Today we're short a couple players. It's Mother's Day. We decided we were going to do I'm also feeling a little but I figured we would do a bonus action today where we just kind of sit and talk about both our game and probably, I imagine, a little bit of D&D in general. That sort of tends to be the way things go.
it's hard to avoid it.
I'm going to go through our credits just on the off chance that we want to throw something up on the
I
screen.
think it's always good to give credit.
Yeah. Cartography by Shay and Peku. Cartography by Shay and Peku Sci-Fi. Maps by Luke Stratton. Maps by Eightfold Paper. Music by Tabletop Audio. Character tokens by Greek46. Custom tokens by Shay and Peku Tokens. Overlay art by Packstream. Custom world map by frecklesketches. And logo by Luke McCay, along with some character art.
Yay!
Special thank you to our moderators, Billith and Strike Red Kite. And Katie.
Yeah. Give me 1 second. Hey, Lauren, you're an editor. Hi, everybody. My name is Katie Downey, aka Goblin Katie. I play the Triton College of Eloquence Bard. There's just a list of names, so I'm going to go with Tallulah for now. If you know, you know. But yeah, I want to give a big thank you to Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms. This is a very cool, one of those idle play games, but it's just as fun when you're like sitting there playing it because you can do strategy and use different characters and their abilities to like compound each other. It's really fun. But we have this really handy code right under me that you will see. It's Conchoco Quay. Joko Quay, which has like this really musical sound to it to me. Joko Quay. Anyways, that is our code. So put that code into the game. Get yourself a free Electrum chest for all sorts of cool stuff. And yeah, check out Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realm. Lauren?
I'm Lauren Urban. You can find all the stuff I'm doing at lauren-urban.com, which is my website. Or you can also go to my Blue Sky, which is the same thing. Because I did the thing, yeah. Normally, I'm on here playing Fairlos, the Tabaxi cleric, who only has the one name for reasons. And yeah, tonight, I'm just here talking about that. And I feel like you can have as many names as you want, but yeah, you eventually have to just pick one and stick with it.
Right? Like,
if only so that we know what you want us to
which
use.
one to call me.
Yeah, what would you? Yeah,
well, I know I'm going to introduce at least one more.
Oh my god, really?
Well, yeah, you know what it is. It's the super secret one.
I'm not.
I'll
sure
tell you
I know
when
what
you're
you're
older.
Talking about.
It's so
so
secret that the DM doesn't know what it is.
I bet I do.
I'll throw it in. I'll throw it in a message to you in Zoom chat.
Because it's a name. I've forgotten it. Like I forget all names. But
that's fine. Actually, I'll send it in Discord.
Speaking of names, I'm Jeremiah Samirian, normally the DM of this game, and yeah, we want to talk a little bit about. So, first of all, I'm sure. Twitch. I saw rewatching some of the VODs. I get to see some of the Twitch chat, and during certain, let's say, revelations. Oh, right. During certain revelations, there were definitely Twitch chat questions about the nature of what was going on, but there's also, I'm sure, questions that you guys might want to have answered, and I'm pretty much an open book most of the time when it comes to that kind of stuff. So, like, what did you guys? Let's just start. What did you guys think about the little twist of the game world being a simulation sometime after the end by some sort of artificial intelligence?
So I talked to Sim earlier. I think it was this week that we discussed this. And I have never played in a story with a meta core like this. And it's new. I've never done it, so it's really fresh, and I'm having a blast with it. When you threw our names, like our real names, into the game, that was amazing. That cracked me up. I loved it.
I think we talked about it afterwards. It was very interesting to stay in character in that moment,
Mm-hmm.
even though
Hmm.
technically we were not in that moment. When the revelation was happening to Riv, like none of our characters were there. And then eventually Riv told us what was going on. But like, okay, how is Fairlos gonna deal with this? And in a weird way, that actually kind of helped me because she has such a practical way of thinking about this. And the whole the whole is this a world that's been created by a dream, and then the philosophy behind that,
Mm-hmm.
it, like I think this is super cool and I love it. And yeah, there's the weird like, why is Lauren's name coming up in this?
Yeah.
But like Fairlos had this weird bedrock of, does it really matter? I'm going to react the same way whether I think this is real or not. Can I even tell? If I can't tell, does it matter? I'm going to react the same way whether I can or not. And that's such a very practical way that it was hard for me to even have more than Fairlos saying like, well, but that's what's going to happen, is you
Mm-hmm.
just got to deal with it. You can't look at everything and be like, but it's not real and so it doesn't matter, but it's right there in front of you, so it matters, you know.
I love how you're switching or slipping into the accent as you're talking.
I mean, because yeah, you know, and so it was fun to go through that
Mm-hmm.
process of like, okay, how is she going to react to this? How is she going to feel about this? And then have it kind of inform how I felt about it, because the instant you dropped real names, I almost needed to have Fairlos be the one reacting to it because it's like I can't react to this. How am I supposed to react to myself?
Mm-hmm.
It's funny the way you describe Furlos's. I think we've talked about this before, but Furlos's approach to the complex philosophy that keeps coming across the table is
Mm-hmm.
essentially my reaction to most like complex philosophical conundrums, which is just sort of like, if you can't tell the difference, what's then reality is reality. If this is 17 septillion levels down from baseline reality because of simulations after simulations, who cares? This is my reality. This is the one that matters.
Yeah, exactly. And I think she's amused by it. And she likes having those discussions with Riv because she likes watching how fascinated Riv is by it. But in the end, you know, like in episode 4 or 5, like really, really early on, when there was that whole, when we were still just grappling with the idea of the world being a dream,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
and you know, the philosophy of some people who were like, well, the world is a dream, and so nothing matters because it's all a dream, or the world is a dream and our fate is already written because it's all a dream, and so nothing that we do matters.
Yeah.
And her having this idea of like, that doesn't make any sense, that feels like an abdication of everything that it means to be alive, and it seems like a cop out. And no, so yeah, like the more complex it gets and the more deep it gets, the more her being the stubborn the stubbornness that she is, of just like, but it still all matters, it's just you're just making it more complex, but it still matters.
Yeah.
I,
I
yeah,
love I love the well, no, what is that? Comparison, contrast. That's the word I'm looking for.
Mm.
I love the contrast between Furlos and Tallulah because I've not seen you be this role before. It's fun watching you play a kind of the team lead because I always have played with you as like the support person. And it's really fun seeing a character of yours in the lead because it's again, it's fresh, it's new, it's something that I haven't seen before. So I'm enjoying the heck out of that,
But thank you. Although, if you ask Fairlos, yeah, she's in the lead, but that's a support role.
and I love that. See, that's why it's even better. I love
But
that.
like, okay, so Goblin, we all watched your reaction to the real names getting dropped. Like,
Yeah.
I think Tallulah is the one that I think has the most interesting reaction because you've now had to deal with like your character not knowing who she is anymore and then not knowing who the world is anymore. So
Yeah.
like has she
I
even really processed anything that Riv has said?
Talila's brain is really smooth right now,
I
and there
feel
are
like that's
little
so
like
funny, right?
thought goblins just sledding off the side of it.
Oh, what's
Mhm.
that? You're telling me that I'm not really who I thought I was?
The
Wow.
the
What
irony.
what new and fresh information you have provided for me.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
kind of love the irony that she's put forth this persona and tried to disguise these things, and then we land in this room, and suddenly she's like, "Oh, I'm not even who I thought I was." Okay, that's
Yep.
great. That's
Yep.
lovely.
You get back what you put out into the world.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like the amount of tongue biting that was going
I would have
on.
loved to hear Furlough's inner monologue during all of that.
That there was a moment. There was a moment in the back of her head where like the nasty part of her was just like you get what you give,
Yeah.
But she cares about you too much.
Karma is a bitch.
So it was funny in those moments, and it's something I absolutely should have planned for, which is you essentially coming up to the point where you're going to want to know what your actual name is. What was your birth name?
Yeah.
Because this guy's going to know the answer to that question. And I had nothing planned for you. Zero.
I love it. I love
So,
it.
and because of that, and because this is an extremely important character moment for you, not only is that bad because I should have had something planned, but I needed to run it by you
Yeah.
first to make sure that it was okay.
But it was
But
perfect.
but we're in the scene, we're in the moment, and I'm like, I'm gonna I'm gonna try something.
Can
And yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
okay.
because I was gonna let you. Yeah.
Okay. So when I was creating the character, I'm big on music. I love music. I always have to have music for my character. And I was feeling out a couple different songs and I had sent them to Sumerian saying, this would be really cool. This would be really cool. And one day he sends me a Joni Mitchell song that I had never heard before called Little Green. And it's about Joni Mitchell when she was younger had a child. She and her boyfriend had a child together. He moved to California, and she had to give the child up to adoption. And the nickname she gave the girl was Little Green, like the color when the spring is born. And he sent me this song, and it fits so perfectly. And there's one line that always stands out to me. And it's the one that Sim pointed out, and it just latched perfectly. And it was, "You're sad and you're sorry, but you're not ashamed." And that is so Tallulah. Like, that is, yeah, I'm doing things that I'm not proud of, but you know what? They're getting done and they need to be done, and I'm not ashamed of doing what needs to be done.
Mm-mm.
I'm sorry for taking this identity and running with it for years, but I'm not ashamed of it. So it's a perfect fit. So go listen to Joni Mitchell's Little Green if you want to hear kind of a taste of what Tallulah's head is like.
And for anyone who missed the last episode, to finish my version, my part of
Yes.
the story, the name I ended up going with in the moment because I was just like, I gotta go with something was Joni, because I was
Mm.
like,
So perfect.
if I could come up with anything that I think like I could be as close to sure that you'd be okay with it, I would. That was the one I
Oh,
was
it
going
was
to go with.
beautiful. It was so, and it fits the game to do it that way so well. Like, it keeps with the meta thing that you've got going
Yeah.
beautifully for that to tie in that way. I loved it. It was a
Yeah, but
perfect choice.
I thought I would throw in that was literally an in the moment decision on my part where I was like, I gotta do so. I gotta pick something right now.
Do you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make a Tallulah bingo card that's just full of different names.
No. I mean, I imagine because
You're gonna run out of space.
because of your bardiness, you're gonna be disguised as someone else
Mm-hmm.
probably more than once this campaign,
Oh yeah.
and going by a completely different name.
I'm
So
just going to make a bunch of nameplates that I can import on top of my name on Zoom.
There
wait,
you go.
I'm not even sure because you know how I am about names. I'm not even sure I remember all of the one. I for sure because you just sent me one. I was like, oh my god, yes, we talked about
Yes.
that. I
Let's see. She's been Tallulah, Menon, Dominique. There was another one that I used at one point, wasn't there?
yeah,
Tallulah,
Tallulah,
Menon, Dominique.
Manon,
Oh, Joni.
Dominique, Joni.
I mean, those are the main
Yeah, I don't think I
three
actually have
that
used any others. I think that's it.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
we know of 5.
And we also we in a meta sense know that you're also technically the
6.
an incarnation of yourself,
Yeah.
the player.
That's so
So
I love that. So now here's the question, Lauren.
yes.
With us having discovered that level of it, are you going to incorporate a little bit of Lauren into Furloughs?
I think it doesn't matter how much you try to make a character as separate from you as possible. There's always
yeah,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
always a
I mean like more
little
than
bit.
the typical kind of bleed that you get.
Intentionally, no, but like I said, I think it's impossible not to.
Yeah.
Um, especially since when I decided I was going cleric again, it was like, well, okay, I'm giving in to being a cleric again. You know, there's already a lot of me in Fairlos. It's
Yeah.
just a different a lot of me than what has been in other characters.
Hmm.
So, um, yeah, not intentionally, but it's an interesting idea.
Yeah, it just occurred to me while I was sitting here, and I was like, that's actually I wonder if Lauren has thought of doing that. Because that,
Like I said, not intentionally, but also I have had the experience of of thinking, oh, okay, here are the little bits of me that
mhm,
I know are in this character, and then uh post after things have happened, gone, oh, I didn't know I'd also put that in me in there.
yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize I was working through that. Okay. All right. That's
I
okay.
one thing that Furlos and you tend to share is that sort of like every once in a while something will come up and you'll just like look. I'm like, really?
Yeah. Yeah. That's yeah. I mean, there are things that are just
Yeah.
you can't help.
Yeah.
And I think also like part of it is okay, yeah, you there's always going to be a bit of you in every character you play, no matter how hard you try.
Hmm.
Some of it is also I do so much performing in this box that there is enough of things that I do that are part of performing in this box that include a lot of
Yeah, that.
yeah,
Hmm.
the intense eye contact with the camera. But yes, she does a lot more silent staring than a lot of my other characters.
Hmm.
So definitely. Well, I mean, how about you, Goblin? Are you planning on adding more of you into
It just occurred
Tallulah?
to me, and I think it'd be kind of interesting to have like a little bit of because the I feel like this story is so like malleable,
Mm-hmm.
and the idea of almost taking things that Sumerian is providing and incorporating them in as we move through it. Not just character stuff, but mannerisms and things like that. I think it'd be kind of interesting to start bringing in aspects from all the different meta things that are going on.
See, for you, first off, I love the idea that all of a sudden one of the names that your character is using is Katie.
That would be
Uh,
so
That one,
funny.
I'm going to
right,
use it at some point.
right.
Honestly, it'd be really funny if that's what you landed on as a final name.
That would be
It
hilarious.
comes up and you're like, it just feels right, and I don't know
Yeah.
how.
I don't know why, but that feels right.
Because I could see all of our characters reacting to that in a different way.
Yeah.
There's also the other thing about Fearless is she's kind of like not hardcore, but she's fighting a little bit against the idea that this is all a narrative.
Hmm.
And so, you know how authors talk about that they get the characters in the back of their head talking to them while they're writing?
Hmm.
I feel like that is what happens with Fairlos it if that moment happens and where Lauren is going to start to insert into the game,
Mm-hmm.
it's not that more of me becomes in Fairlos, it's that Lauren becomes in the back of Fairlos's head. And that's as far as it goes. And now
Yeah.
Fairlos has to deal with me in the back of her
It's
head.
just that Lauren is now Furless's conscience.
Yeah, or just like the narrator, like how Essequa ends up with the narrator every once in a while.
Thank you for the
Fairlos has
hype
to deal with
train.
me. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. And so yeah, and then Fairlos has to deal with me every once in a while, and has that, why don't can you just stop? This is mine. This is my story and my life. And why do you always have to be talking to me in the back of my head? Could you just go away for a little while?
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
So
Also,
I think that kind of relationship would happen.
to
Gotcha.
chat, we are collecting your questions and we'll answer
Yes.
them after we're done with our discussion.
Yes.
But yeah, no, it's gonna be. It's funny because I did not envision. I think I've mentioned this before in previous bonus actions. I didn't, because I'm not like as I mentioned, my attitude towards philosophy and philosophical conundrums is the same as Furlos's. So it was never my plan for this campaign to go in this direction. I definitely had a science fiction-y sort of spin on it, but that was
Mhm.
always just going to be the in-game world stuff. The idea that we were going to have, and then I introduced the idea of the world as a dream
Mhm.
first, because in a fantasy setting, that's the first step you get so I can take you to where I want you to go, which is this world is actually a simulation.
Yeah.
But and I was like, well, I mean, if we're gonna go into philosophy, I'm gonna do some science fiction philosophy stuff because that's
Yeah.
science fiction's always been my jam anyway. So
Mhm.
this works for me.
Yeah.
Although interestingly, Katie not noticed this because Katie knows what my actual name is, which is not Jeremiah Cimmerian. It's not that cool. But one of the names that I mentioned, which I implied was Karadig's imprint, is my real name because you guys have adopted him. So
I was blown away because I have never seen Sim use his real name, and when he said that, I was like, I actually messaged him offline and went, "Oh my god, you used your name!"
Are you sure you want to put that out on the internet?
I do not care. No, it's never been a problem. I always say when it comes to security and not like being once you put yourself on the internet and you're not being careful at any point, you've
Mm,
already screwed up and you can't take it back.
yeah.
I've been on the internet since the late 90s, and I didn't know that I was supposed to be careful back then, so it's far too late now.
Yeah. It doesn't take much.
Yeah.
I've been alive long enough to have seen the full cycle of no, you cannot tell anybody about anything about
Mhm.
you. You do not tell your real name or where you live. You
Yeah.
always go by your handle. You don't tell anybody anything. Oh well, maybe you sometimes meet some people,
Mhm.
or maybe you actually kind of sometimes meet some people too. All right, well, on Facebook, you might use some of your real name to, oh no, you just put everything out there, and that's what you do. You just put your real name. And now
Mhm.
I'm starting to see it come back again, except you can't go back. Can't put the
Yeah.
toothpaste back in the
Mm.
tooth.
The internet is
the
forever.
tube. Yeah. It
Um,
is. It is both forever and it's not. And it's
Mhm.
yeah. Oh
the
geez, we have a lot
narr
of questions already.
yeah, I'm gonna start from the top here. The narrator, program or secret third thing? Okay, so
Ooh.
I always intended that the narrator is the god of narration. Um, there was one of my other campaigns that I run in this game world had they went to the God's Well. There's a bunch of gods trapped in there, and a few of them escaped prior to them even arriving. And I had used that in my head as be like, that's the guy who does all of my summaries. There is literally a fourth wall breaking dude,
Mhm.
a god doing the summaries, and he really does live in the world too at the same time, but he has the ability to see everything that's happening. He just can't really
Mhm.
interact with it too much.
He's
Um,
a Watu. He's a watcher.
yeah, really, yeah.
Yeah,
And
well, I'm
so I don't.
sorry that I'm adjusting the overlay as we're going here. I apologize.
I think the answer to that's probably secret third thing, and that he's just a part of the simulation. I'm not gonna hem myself in on this. I don't know
Mm.
if he's an imprint or not. Maybe he becomes important later. There is some stuff. Oh God, there is some stuff I have planned for later. I have three major plot lines, and then the conclusion is obviously the big sort of like we need to fix the simulation deal.
Hmm.
But there are three plot lines I've been working on. One is the Brescian Civil War. The other one is piracy, that which we I'm giving that a very vague sort of thing because we haven't dived into like the full thing on that, but the
Mm.
piracy issues that are going on and maybe solving that one way or the other. And then there is Crescenza, the marvelous muse and goddess of award-winning musical theater, and her storyline. And that's the one where I think the narrator very well may like interact in some way. But each one of those is technically keyed into like I like to have an arc for every player in the game. And so each of those arcs is kind of keyed into one of the players.
Hmm.
And yeah, I don't want to narrow that what the narrator is or isn't just yet because I don't know yet.
I
A
love
lot
that.
of the a lot of the ways I do when I DM, I have a lot of it's a lot of possibilities. And then when we get to the moment where I have to make a decision, then it crystallizes into the one that I feel is the right direction for the story.
I love that.
Just so you know, everybody, as you're in chat, if you have a question, do what Cassius and some other folks have done. Put question in all caps so it pops out to me. I am copying them and pasting them, and I can scroll through chat. So, gotcha.
Speaking of music, helping with character creation, Lauren, we'll cover you first because they're also asking me. But Lauren,
Yes.
what songs and melodies help you create Furlos, or what songs do you think apply to her now?
So this is gonna sound weird, considering I am a musician. No songs helped me create her. I am, yeah, it's weird. Yeah, I don't know why. It's
That
always
That's
been
blows
a
not
me
a
thing.
away.
Yeah,
that's not a guarantee for everybody. I
Yeah,
wouldn't
but
have expected
Lauren
it
is
to be.
such a musical person. Like
and
that.
it's a weird. I can't just I can't. I've never understood it. You would
Yeah.
think, and I would think, but no, I have a hard time putting together playlists for my characters. I don't listen to music. I like this is the first game in where I listen to any music while we play because it comes through the Roll20,
Hmm.
and I have it down as low as possible. And that's not because it isn't good. It's fantastic. It's because I get distracted by it. I can't listen to music while I sleep. If the
Yeah.
music's on, I will not sleep. I'm
Yeah.
listening to it. So it's real hard for me to put together playlists and stuff. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I wish I could. So no, there was no music for me when I put together characters. It's a mixture of um what does what is the group that I'm playing with? What have they already decided to play? And so what
Hmm.
holes need filling? um what haven't I done before? Is there anything that I've been craving to do
Hmm.
because I haven't done it before, or just I've been excited to do it? um and then yeah, I just kind of go from there and look for stuff. So it's very much filling holes and what excites me, and then going down those paths and figuring things out
Hmm.
from there, and it has zero to do with music. Now, um,
Yeah, because if you were putting together a playlist now for your character,
um, okay, if I was to, this is gonna be so cliche, but I'm gonna start with some Beethoven symphonies
Nice.
because, um, because for her, it's like I almost wanted to joke about, well, it's not gonna be a playlist full of music, it's gonna be a playlist full of like nature sounds, which is like almost too on the nose. So I'm gonna go with Beethoven symphonies because and some of his piano works because they're so pastorally evocative, and that that kind of yeah, that kind of there's storytelling without necessarily telling a specific story, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
And there's a reason that a lot of his stuff ended up in Fantasia. Um,
Did they use a lot of his stuff in Fantasia 2000? I never
Fantasia.
actually saw it.
Oh, so Fantasia 2000. Are we gonna go on this rant? I'm gonna warn you. I'm gonna warn you if we're gonna go on
Oh,
this
I
rant.
want to rant.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
let
Okay,
me let me get comfy.
oh god. Okay, so Fantasia 2000. So I saw Fantasia 2000 when it came out, and if you remember, it came out literally in the year 2000, New Year's Day.
Mm-hmm.
And I went with my family on New Year's Day in IMAX to go see it. And the very first song is Beethoven Symphony Number 5, the first movement. It is the famous one that da 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 dum.
Yeah.
Everybody knows it.
Oh no. Oh
They
no.
edited they edited it. They cut out a whole section of the development. Now, for those that don't know musical terms, the development is essentially when they take the theme and it goes through a whole bunch of changes and stuff. And it's usually in especially an orchestral piece, but in any piece of music where there's like things change and things change and change and change and change, and then it ends up back at the beginning. They cut out a whole section of it. Now, I will admit part of the reason I am like ridiculously pissed about it is because if you listen to the entire first movement of Symphony Number 5 by Beethoven, it includes a cadenza for the principal oboe,
Oh no.
and that got cut. Now, I it, I will admit that's part of it, and so grain of salt the rest of my anger. But how do you cut anything out of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony? Like, how do you do that?
How do you try to say you know better than Beethoven?
How do you even do that? I can't imagine being in that orchestra and being like, "Oh yeah, sure. So we're just gonna skip the entire development." What do you mean we're gonna? What do you mean? What do you mean? So yes,
Yeah.
Beethoven is it. I have problems with yes, yeah.
Oh, I found another question that I missed.
So yeah, that's
Um,
my. There's a lot of really good things about Fantasia 2000, and there's some beautiful sections, and I still think for especially for new for people who especially for young kids or for people who are new to classical music who need something other than just here sit down and listen to a piece of classical music who need something else to listen to. I'm never gonna say no,
Mm-hmm.
but it puts like it makes me want to cry every
And no,
single time.
that's I mean, like, how do you edit Beethoven?
There's other problems with that
Oh.
editing, some of which I understand, and some of which get really like inside baseball problems.
Mm.
They do Firebird and they do the actual suite instead of the ballet version, which some people have a problem with, and I don't. And yeah, inside baseball. So yes.
Yeah.
What was I talking about?
I just
Fairlos.
remember
Oh my god.
and I actually saw it today, the
we're talking about Furlos's songs.
Fairlos' songs. You know
Oh
what
yeah.
Fairlos would not do? Fairlos would not cut out the development portion of any of Beethoven's symphonies.
No.
She
Are
would
you
know better.
sure Furlos wouldn't do that?
I'm positive.
Dude, Furlos wouldn't just
No, Fairlos doesn't cut out anything that's supposed to be there.
don't make Furlos angry. Furlos is scary when she's angry.
Similar question to me. What music inspires you when creating NPCs or the world of Heimel? Okay, so I don't necessarily always have a song in mind for an NPC. I do sometimes listen to a song and be like, wow, that really, really fits what I'm working on. Um, I do have poems that really like inform the vibe of what I'm working with, but there are some songs too. So I don't see as much of a stark contrast between poetry and songs
Mm-hmm.
as I think most people treat them as. Um, for me, it's more about the lyrics than it is about the music. Anyway, so it's kind of like that. But like, a good example was the nightmare guy you guys ran into, where the poem was, and I pulled it up here because I knew this question was coming. Was "In the Desert" by Stephen Crane, and the whole deal for him is In the desert, I saw a creature, naked, bestial, squatting upon the ground, held his heart in his hands, and ate of it. I said, Is it good, friend? It is bitter, bitter, he answered. But I like it because it is bitter, and because it is my heart.
Mm.
Hmm.
A
I
lot
will
of.
say the other games that I play with Sumerian,
Mm,
we do have music by
yeah, I do.
character.
I do.
The
Yeah.
Saturday game we play, like every NPC has their own song. Every PC has their own song. And if it's a pivotal moment involving one of those characters, Sim will switch the music to put that on. And it's really
That's
cool
cool.
because it's all
Unfortunately, it's
like
called
Vitamin
copyright.
String
So,
Quartet
Yeah.
covers. So good.
unfortunately, it's all copyrighted, so it can't work in
Hmm.
this game. But, yeah. And then there's for the game world, I picked out a lot of songs that were very
I'm
had very
actually on the Zoom or the Discord with those songs. Do you want me to
right.
copy them
I
and
was gonna
paste them?
say I've got some dreamlike imagery. I know we've got Dream Suite in C major. I
Mm.
had Whiter Shade of Pale.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I dreamed I saw Saint Augustine, which actually got very literally interpreted because the last interpreted. The last stanza is I dreamed I saw Saint Augustine alive with fiery breath. So when I created the Saint Augustine character that you guys have seen reference to in the histories, um, I made sure that he was a dragonborn that normally couldn't breathe fire, but breathes fire anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah,
Sumerian, do
so
you mind if I share your the campaign theme suggestion that you had
yeah,
posted?
go ahead.
Okay.
I might.
It's
It's been a while, but I might
Mercy
not
Street.
remember. That was the one I was about to go into next. Very very perfect for that. Yes, Mercy Street is probably, I would say, the song that most informs the setting. Especially once we got into the idea that when we started the setting, this campaign, I should say, this campaign's version of the setting, because once we got into like the philosophy of things and I started introducing the dream as being like important, I I really dived into using Mercy Street by Peter Gabriel. Although the version I think you should listen to is probably Emmy Reynolds and Opus Orange.
Hmm.
Mm.
I put
Um,
that. That's what.
that's the one you put. Okay, yeah.
Hmm.
It's originally it's Peter Gabriel. I
Yeah.
like Peter Gabriel, but I think that's a better version. Um, and it really informs because I've used the quotes from that. Let's see if I could find in the Discord here. I've used quotes
What are
from
you looking
that
for?
multiple times. Well, the quotes from that particular song, which included like
Don't see
looking
quotes.
down on empty streets. I don't know why I'm looking them up. I know the lyrics. On empty streets,
Still
all she
finding
can
them, yeah.
see are the dreams all made solid? Are the dreams all made real? All of the buildings and all of the cars were once just a dream in somebody's head. She pictures the broken glass. She pictures the steam. She pictures a soul with no leak at the seam. So when you guys went
Mhm.
with secondhand souls, I was like, nice.
That's kind of perfect.
Um, and that's just the first three,
Sure.
bits of it. But because I'm not going to recite the whole thing, I don't want to get copyright struck. But yeah, it definitely that just that introduction really strongly informs the whole thing.
Hmm.
And the she in this is obviously the dreamer. And then I was like, one of the other things I was thinking about when I was creating this setting, and I started focusing in on the dream because it seemed like that's where the characters wanted to go and the players wanted to go,
Hmm.
was that I didn't want it to all be one person. Like it wasn't just one person's like story controlling the world,
Yeah.
which is why I was very happy recently to be able to expand it to be like all of you are
Hmm.
technically dreamers and all of you are creating the world alongside the
Which
dreamer.
was neat. I liked that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I still, in I shouldn't say I, Tallulah is still convinced that Rivulet is the main molder and shaper of
mm,
things, and she's fine with that.
yeah.
I think Fairlos believes we're all dreamers, but because of who Riv is, she's just like taken to that just because like the philosophy and the way that Riv thinks, she's taken to that kind of power super fast. So it's like I don't need to worry about um becoming powerful in this way. I can support her because not because I can't do this, but because like, you know, it's like the difference between someone who's got the natural talent for it and someone who's just going to put in the hard work. Like, okay, I can put in the hard work and make this happen. But she's got the natural talent for it, so it'll be easier for me to just support her. Like I think that's where Farlos's brain
Yeah.
is right now with it. Like we can all do this. It's going to take me a little bit more work. So why don't I just support Riv?
Yeah.
We got when a player is missing in real life due to stuff. What does the dreamer look like to Synthra? Semi-active, hanged, frozen, or other. I think I answered that kind of when he was talking about how the rock is also a person and a rock. I think
Mm.
when not necessarily the player isn't around, they just, I mean, they exist in sort of a middle area between that. And that's the best way to handle it, really. Because, I mean, you don't want to, every once in a while you have to step in and do something with the player's character. Like we had this literally happen near the end of the last session where you guys were discussing something extraordinarily sensitive, and there's Essequa whose player isn't there but who has the spell Moriarty's Circle of Trust, which
Yeah.
prevents anyone from listening in. And I'm like, well, I've got to step in and have, but I try
Yeah.
my best not to step on the toes of a, well, step on the toes to force a player to dance who's not available at the
Yeah.
at the table.
I think it's
Um,
always, especially for a streamed game, you got a little more leeway with a home game. With a stream game, it's always kind of a balancing act of what makes the most sense at the time. So
Hmm.
like, and it's always different. So, in certain circumstances, okay, it makes sense to come up with a reason why the character isn't there so that they can catch up later and have a reason to be caught up on the events. And sometimes it makes sense for the character to be there, to just for whatever reason be distracted or in the background or not as vocal for whatever reason. And you just kind of got to figure out what makes the most sense that is both honoring the character and the player at that time.
Hmm.
And you just yeah, like Sim said, you just kind of do what's best and go from there. Because yeah, especially on a stream, when someone's got a miss, you're also kind of also giving permission to like, hey, do what you got to do with
Yeah.
the character. We'll go from there. And in all of my games, we all do it differently at different times.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, when I've had to miss, I often will give like, oh yeah, do what you need to do. Here's a couple suggestions.
Yeah.
If you want my character to be gone, here's a reason why they might be gone. If you want her to be here, here's some reasons why she might just be, quiet. Um, there's been times in where I've literally just given my character sheet over to someone and been like, hey, yeah, if you get in a fight, here you go. You know how this works. There's a home game that I do on Fridays that I'm often late to because of my Friday streamed game, and I play a bard in that game. And when we get into battle, she's 100% just like a support bard. She's basically in combat. She's a silver barbs bard.
Hmm.
She has like no damage spells. She's silvery barbs and
That's a
phantasmal
good one to
force.
have, though.
Yeah, it's silvery barbs and
Horse.
phantasmal force and vicious mockery, and everything else is like out of combat stuff. So, and then she can do like the bardic inspiration, cutting
Hmm.
words and things like that. So I'll hand my character sheet over when I know they're going to get in combat. I'm like, you know what to do with her. Just go for it. And if I have any spell slots left at the end of the combat, it's fine. And you just
We,
kind of trust, that
yeah.
they're going to do the right thing.
When we were doing D4, we would, if one of us had to miss, we would tell the guys they could Jaeger us, I think is what
Yeah.
they called it, which is apparently an anime reference, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
it's
It's
probably from Pacific Rim, right?
Well, Pacific Rim is the
Graphic novel.
Americanized version of yeah.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah.
Jaegers are
It's like a Gundam,
if you
isn't
think
it?
Gundam, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Gundams
okay.
are specifically Jaegers. So if
Okay,
you've
good. Then
seen
I interpreted it
big
correctly.
Voltron, yeah, any giant robot with person inside, that's what a Jaeger
I
is.
wanted to be the princess so badly.
Yeah, I
Princess
do.
Who-
Who doesn't?
Aurora, wasn't it? Wasn't it the
Mm-hmm.
same as Sleeping Beauty's name?
Yeah.
Aurora? Yeah. She was so
So yeah.
cool. I wanted to be her.
to actually answer your, I realized I kind of took a detour in answering the question of when a player is missing in real life, what does it look like in game?
Oh yeah.
I took a detour specifically because ultimately I am not going to handicap myself with story reasons for puppeting a player's character when what I do with the player's character when they're not around is so heavily contextual and based on the exact scene that they're in when the
Yeah.
things happen,
Yeah.
and saying that like what are they in, I don't want to, I here's the thing, this game also exists in the history of the world that created this game simulation in the future. So when a player's not here, Synthra he's simulated the whole universe already, including this game back when it happened. So
It's
that's what
already
it looks
mapped.
like to him. He knows that the player's not going to be there.
We had on the Sim's very good at figuring out like things to do. We've had to do it several times during the Saturday game. And I think my favorite home game I couldn't be there moment I have ever had
I know where you're about to
was
say.
our team went to this city in it's same world. We went to this city and it was being beset by a force of undead, and I play a grave cleric in that game. And so basically, I couldn't be there. So my character, Mara, went to the front gate and Spirit Guard. No, not Spirit Guardian. What was
You
it?
did. Yep.
It was Spirit Guardian, and she activated Spirit Guardian. I wasn't there, but I had the spell. She basically held the front gate by herself because she was able to stand behind the portcullis and nothing was able to get close. So
Spirit
I was
Guardian is
out for the whole
amazing.
game, but I was being a badass.
Well, this came down to I'm like, this was an extremely big and pivotal. Why am I having trouble with
Pivotal?
words today? Yes, that is the word I was trying to say. Pivotal battle that they needed to fight in. And it was literally thousands and thousands of undead attacking a city. And the party's only cleric wasn't able to be there that week. And I'm
Mm.
like, under normal circumstances, I would have just, put you off screen doing,
Yeah,
helping people in town or whatever.
yeah.
But I'm like, there's no way.
No, it
I
shouldn't.
cannot conceive of a reason your character would not be on the front lines of that fight.
Especially
Regard-
given
yeah,
who the character is.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, and
Yeah.
that too. That also informs it.
mhm.
So I was like, I have to find a way to put you on the front lines, but also not. And then I think did I think
Yeah.
actually,
Then the
yeah,
snow thing,
yeah, the snow
ice
thing,
method.
yeah. You came back the next
I was there.
session
Yeah.
in sort of in medias res, and
hmm
yeah, the fight was already ongoing, and you got to do some
I got to have a
actual
cool little
badass stuff
solo scene.
while you were present.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is entirely contextual. Like in that situation, like I know, I mean, and then also it comes down to the player, right? There
Yeah.
are probably players who, despite the, and I would probably talk to them about that in the end, but there probably are players who would hear that context I just gave you and still be like, but still don't puppet my character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every player's different.
Yeah.
But I know Katie well enough to know that she'd be like, yes, you're absolutely right. There's no reason I wouldn't be on the front lines for this fight.
hmm
Yeah.
And I'm perfectly comfortable with. I have had one character die. It was a one-shot character, and that is the only PC I have ever lost. But there are certain DMs that I'm like, yeah, you can play my character if I'm not there, and if I die, I die. It is what it is. But that comes from being comfortable and trusting the DM. If I didn't feel comfortable with the DM playing my character, I would ask them, can you just have me like go to a tea shop or something, and I need to clear
Yeah.
my head. And it's not anything against the DM or their skill. It's just I don't know if you understand this character, and um I don't want to create a situation. So it's easier just to have me go off to a tea shop or something like
Also,
that.
there are very good DMs out there that are a little bit antagonistic towards the players.
Yeah,
Like they want to beat them,
that's
and
yes.
you gotta keep that in mind too. But
It's
that's the
not a
thing, right?
competition.
There's
D&D isn't a competition.
there's also really good DMs out there who find it funny that whenever somebody misses a session, that's when their character specifically dies.
Yeah.
And so when you come back, it's all about bringing your character back. And so it turns into kind of a weird running gag. And so when you come, when you leave, somehow your character's going to die. So
Yeah.
when you come back, somehow your character is coming back,
See,
but it's still
I
like
love that.
eh,
I kind of do. Well, okay. Wait, do you
once
always get to come back?
maybe.
But you die every time someone can't be at the game? Like every single time?
every time someone couldn't be at the game, their character died.
That's too much.
No, that's bad.
That's too
I
much.
I don't like
Every
critiquing
time-
other DMs all that much. That's bad DMing, actually.
Every
You know-
time that person came back, we managed to figure out a way to bring that character back. But yeah, it was
God.
it was a thing. It turned into a don't miss the game because your character will die.
That's
Yeah.
actually kind of funny. Like, unfortunate, and I'm glad it wasn't me, but from the outside, kind of funny.
I don't know if any of you could hear that, but that was a giant crash of thunder
Oh,
outside.
I didn't hear anything.
No, I didn't hear it.
Okay. I'm gonna,
Do you
I'm
have
gonna
storms
close
too?
my-
You're close
no,
window.
actually, no. Here in Seattle, we very rarely get any storms. which is
Do you
why
guys get
that-
thunder snow up there?
No, we don't. I
love
did in
thunder
Buffalo
snow.
when I lived in Buffalo. I did. Give me a second. I'm gonna close my window because that was
Good call.
very very loud. I'll
Okay.
be right back.
Also,
uh,
what is Sol
Hey,
Jaffe
I'm
said-
gonna, speaking of music, I'm just gonna post my playlist on socials. I'll post it on Blue Sky.
Did
so-
this not post the question? Because you're at the bottom here. It just says Sol Jaffe.
Oh,
said,
I was just letting you know that, somebody specifically shouted you out. So
Oh,
that was just me letting you know.
I thought that was like part of a.
No,
line. I
I'm
wasn't
sorry. I
sure.
should have typed something in there so you knew.
So the next question was, do each player's book represent a folder on Centra? Are Tolliver and Friends of Virus or just stuff from the D drive? Okay. So okay.
Be a folder or just an entire D drive.
I don't think of Centra as the kind of computer that like it's okay. Centra represents a technological singularity.
Okay.
Are you familiar with that, Katie? Do you know what I'm talking about? Or Lauren?
I know like particle singularity, so I'm guessing it's similar to that.
It's kind of like that, but with
Okay.
information.
Yeah.
So what happens is you get a computer that both has the production capacity to make a new computer
Mm-hmm.
and also the thinking to be able to design a better computer. And so it builds another better computer, and then that computer builds another better computer. And
I'm just thinking of Hal building a computer right now, and I don't like
Right.
this.
right. So, like humans improve over time, it also improves over time. But instead of taking several 100,000 or millions of years to improve, it takes a weekend. And at
Or
the end
less.
of that weekend, or less. And by the end of that weekend, you have what is essentially God.
Oh.
Yeah.
And they
There is
call
a
that the
whole thing right
technological
now. There's a
singularity.
whole like weird theory thing going on where they're talking about like how long it's going to take AI to be able to be fully independent of human programming, and it's scary. Like,
I think that's a little over. Honestly, as somebody who's a little not super, but a little in tune to that sort of news and stuff,
mhm.
I feel like they overblow. It's a little
Is it?
overblown currently.
Okay, good.
We have artificial intelligence is very good at specific tasks.
Yeah.
It is not very good. General artificial intelligence does not really exist and still
Yeah.
seems very far away.
Hey
Also-
kids, do not use any sort of AI for your legal documents.
Well, and that's the other thing. Most people right now, when they think of AI, what they're thinking of is large language models.
Yeah,
and
which-
like which is not actual AI.
But it's the
and
word because of how language has evolved. That is the
That's
right
what's-
word now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't actually have AI, and it's a whole big thing. But
Yeah.
yes, what Sim
But
is
they've
talking
been
about is
talking about
basically,
like
yeah.
how far off it is, and it's not that far off. I
I
feel
mean,
old. Like it makes me feel old because I'm like, this technology scares me.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
if it makes you feel any better, this technology scares lots of humans. I mean, how do you think we come up with stuff like the Terminator?
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
know,
Yeah.
that's true.
people have been
Uh,
scared about the robot apocalypse since people thought about robots. So,
Dude, I gotta
but
go
yeah,
back and watch Terminator 2. I saw that in the theaters and it was so cool. I saw it
s-
because the guy that plays the T2 is from Atlanta.
hmm,
He's from
mm,
Georgia. So I went to go see the local hometown guy who made it big.
uh, Synthra is so advanced that the idea of a folder on a hard drive is meaningless, for lack of a
Outdated?
better way to put it. Outdated is
Archaic.
probably a better word. Archaic is probably a
mm-hmm.
better way to put it. Like Synthra's driving purpose was, uh, as an artificial intelligence, handle these billions of colonists until they get to where they need to colonize.
Mm-hmm.
But something interrupted it. And it's been floating through space with all of these resources available to it for billions of years, blah, 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 blah. Spoiler, 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 spoiler. Anyway, point is,
Spoiler,
um,
spoiler.
Why
I
do you
don't care
need
about
folders when
spoilers.
you can think about quantum
Yeah,
computing?
I don't care about spoilers, but I know that other people do, so I'm keeping
Yes.
some information back.
Thank you.
But the second half of that question, are Tolliver and friends a virus or just stuff from the D drive? You will understand what Tolliver is if you think for just a moment what rivulet backwards is. Now, it's not exact spelling,
Mm-hmm.
but
So is it the anti-rivulet?
I mean, not quite. I mean, okay, so wait, we had a little bit of this discussion when we were in Fairlos's book, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't have dreams without nightmares. You
Yeah.
can't have, yeah. So, but the idea of what's more powerful than the other, who really needs whom, who
Mm-hmm.
can be there without the other, that
Yeah.
that whole discussion, I think, is
yeah,
obviously we don't know everything that's going on, and we don't know everything about what's going on with the Nightmare King and all
Yeah.
of that. But like, I think that's a very telling discussion about where some of these beings have come from.
and the fact that Rivulet and Tolliver are essentially mirrors of each other name wise is
Mm-hmm.
not a coincidence.
Yeah.
Um, what are your sci-fi influences? Are any of them yet to be referenced in, or have not obviously scroll shaped the world, but are still things that inspire you? So my science fiction influences are weirdly probably not many novels. My science fiction influences are old short story collections from the golden age, quote unquote, golden age of science fiction. Now, I've definitely read plenty. One of my favorite novels is Dune,
Mm.
as an example. Although there's a lot of Dune's world building that I just don't like.
Mm-hmm.
I love the
No.
story. The world building seems silly to me, especially the Butlerian Jihad. Like the idea that the people without machines and thinking computers beat the guys with the thinking machines
Yeah.
and computers doesn't make sense to me. But
I
that's
can
neither
see.
here nor there. But when it comes to science fiction, it's, as I said, it's mostly golden age of science fiction stuff. Asimov, Clarke, Bradbury, that kind of stuff. Um, and honestly, it's all amalgamated in my head. Um, I wouldn't be able to necessarily name a specific thing and say
Mm.
that's definitely. I mean, when it comes up and somebody points it out, I'll be like, yeah, I've read that, and that's probably inspired. That's happened a lot. What's really funny to me is how often what I want to do has already been done by somebody else, especially in the science fiction realm, right? I have two things that I'm working on right now for this game that have just been done in popular fiction in their own way. And it's so annoying, but
I
also
believe
at the
it.
same time, I'm like, well, I mean, also that means other people think the same way as me. So the first one is pretty obvious. Doctor Who has been doing this thing with like the god of light and the god of music and all these other things. And the way they're approaching it is very much exactly what I wanted to do in this game. And
I
I'm so
mean,
annoyed at that.
Change your
I mean,
plans.
it's what better form of flattery than Doctor Who?
I
And
mean,
the
if
other
if
one
you're
is
yeah.
The other one is vaguely French culture, rebellion against an empire. And if anyone has watched the last 3 episodes of Andor, and has any,
Oh,
I'm
don't
not going to
spoil
spoil
anything. I
anything.
haven't
I'm
been able
not.
to
I'm
watch
not.
it.
This isn't
Okay.
spoiling anything. But it's been paying attention to Gorman. Then you will know that I'm also a little annoyed that that's exactly what I was going. I mean, very similar to what I was going to do.
It just means you're on the
Anyway.
right track. That's all.
I'm just like, God, I'm already in it too. That's the worst part. I can't like shift gears on this one. I'm in it. We're in it. We're gonna have a vaguely French Revolution inspired imperial, anti-imperial deal. And if that happened in Star Wars already, so what?
There you go. There you go. It just means that Star Wars has good taste to be ripping you off.
Also to be clear, watch Andor.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Especially in today's times,
Oh.
you want some anti-fascist, and it can be rough in some places because fascism isn't easy to get rid of. But if you want some anti-fascist media that's currently new and very, very good, watch all of Andor, both
Just-
seasons.
The actors on that series are phenomenal. They're so good. And the script is good. Like I'm not into watching series. I don't do TV series generally cuz I don't know, I don't like sitting there for an hour just watching something. So I had a friend who made me sit down to watch Andor, and I binged the whole thing. It is so good.
See,
Like
that's the thing.
it deserves the hype.
I can watch a series one episode at a time. I can't binge. If the binging and blessings unto my wonderful husband who does love to binge. For when we want to watch something together, being the person who will watch one episode at a time and like, okay, we'll watch one episode today. In a couple days, we'll watch another episode, or like when Disney will put out one episode a week, that's my jam. That makes me so happy.
This last season is 3 at a time, which probably
Nope,
Yeah.
I can't. I figured it out years and years and years ago because I used to do the binging with everybody else, and
Yeah.
I couldn't really figure it out. It's like, I don't know. It's like I'm enjoying these shows and everything.
Mhm.
Stranger Things season 2 came out, and we had Luke's sister came down for a weekend, and we binge watched the entire season over a weekend, and that's when I figured out it's binge
not you.
watching that I hate because it's a great season. It's a great show.
Mhm.
There was nothing bad about it, but I was so overwhelmingly done with it by like the third hour. And it's just,
okay.
I just needed, my brain needed a break from it. My brain needed to not be thinking about it for a while. And that's when I figured out, like, doesn't matter how good it is,
Mhm.
I need
Yeah.
to not think about it for a
Well,
little while. And
talk
since
about
then,
Andor.
yeah.
You want to talk about Andor? Definitely the kind of thing you may need to take a break from time to time.
I recommend with Andor, watch it if you can. Watch it in 3 episode runs because
true of both
they
seasons,
break
actually,
up in the first season at least. They break up. You get your setup, the build up, and then the climax in a 3 episode arc. That's one of the things my friend told me, and that's part of what got me hooked, is because there's an overall story, but you've got these mini, almost like
Yeah.
vignette story parts, and it makes it
You know what
really fun.
you know what I liked about the first season, and we can talk about that a little bit, is that first arc was basically imperialism and capitalism together and the
Yeah.
critique on that.
Yeah.
Second arc was colonialism and imperialism and how those two are coupled together. Your third arc is the prison industrial complex and imperialism combined together. And then
Yeah.
finally just fascism sucks is the last
Mhm.
arc.
Real quick, I promised something on the socials, and I'm going to deliver right now. A blue whale's tongue is the same size as an elephant's tongue, approximately 3 tons.
Are you sure you don't mean the size of an elephant?
It says it can weigh, oh yeah, it would be an elephant, because it says it can weigh up to 3 tons, the same as an elephant. And I
Gotcha.
took that as an elephant's tongue. No, that would make more sense that it's the whole elephant. I don't know, dude. I just saw a video of a cow that weighs 1 ton named Rufus, and I
I'm
loved
just
him.
trying to think of an elephant that has a 3 ton
Yeah,
tongue.
my brain didn't click on that quite
I'm
fast
sorry.
enough.
We've been talking about sci-fi so much that I immediately went Douglas Adams of a whale and a bowl of
The
petunias
bowl of
falling from the
petunia.
sky. Oh no, not again.
So yeah,
Also,
whales
I'll say
basically, blue whales swim around with an elephant in their mouth. That's
I
That's
skipped
not.
over this when we were talking about our inspirations earlier. But Johnny Jubilee is a very clear XP of Doc Holliday from Tombstone.
Mm,
Um, he's not like gonna be quite as vicious and ruthless kind of style, but I
Mhm.
definitely it's definitely what he's supposed to be. I liked I just liked Val
Oh,
Kilmer's version of
God,
that
he
so
was
much. I just wanted to
amazing.
introduce it. Yeah, I was like, what's a good name for? I wanted to be like Holiday, but not Holiday. I was like
Yeah,
Jubilee. Yeah, that'll
I like
do.
it.
Johnny Jubilee. Yeah,
that's a
That's a
good name.
good cowboy name.
it kind of is. Yeah, Johnny
Yeah.
Jubilee. That's sometimes that's weird. It's weird how I put names together where I'm just like, okay, I need to find something that kind of like I want it to fit this vibe, but also it needs to do this and it needs to do that. And like it's funny because I know another guy in a writing community that I'm part of, and he is a perfectionist on his works. He's one of those people who just he's not a good enough writer. It needs to be perfect before
He's
he's willing to
never
release it.
good enough, right?
That's
And
harsh.
he
Yeah.
it is really harsh to be that person. And it's
Hmm.
also
Yeah.
sometimes harsh to like want that person to succeed because anyway, point is he works for days sometimes on getting the perfect name for his characters. And so it's funny for me to describe what I'm talking about here
Yeah.
because I'm usually like, man, just go to a name generator.
When I name
Yeah.
characters, I go to baby name sites and I
Mm,
will pick attributes of that character and search for names that correspond to the meaning. And that's like
I
Seisha came from knowledge. I think it's Sanskrit for knowledge. Um,
I started doing something similar, which has helped a lot because I'm usually real bad with names. And so,
yeah,
yeah, for a while it was name generator until something felt right for me to
yeah.
say. And then maybe I'd change a couple things around. And so now it's okay, I come up with a couple of words to help me describe the character. And
Hmm.
then I start putting that into Google Translate. And I pick languages that, languages that I have some relationship
Hmm.
to try to avoid there being any kind of cultural appropriation.
Hmm.
So they may not be a language that I can speak, but it's like, okay, I do have some Ukrainian in my background. I do have some of this in my background. So I'll pick from these languages and just start looking through words for words in a different language that mean a thing that are related to my character, and then find same kind of thing. I find a
Hmm.
word that sounds that I find fun to say or sounds good to say
Hmm.
that is either that exact word or is close enough, and that becomes names.
Ah,
So
that's
and
cool.
that has helped a lot because it did used to, yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of my characters were just name generators because I suck at that. Mm.
I mean, one thing I regret recently coming up with the name, or not recently, I came up with this name a long, long time ago. But I was putting together the royal court of Brescia, and I was trying to find out what the name of your sister was going to be.
Hmm.
And I was like, and I went to a random name generator, and legitimately, when like the second time I hit the button, Malice basically came up. It
Such
was
a cool
Malice.
name.
I think it would be probably pronounced Malice,
Yeah,
possibly. Um,
probably.
and I was like, I used it, and then I used it in the game, and I was like, God, that feels so on the nose.
Yeah,
But I
it was
mean,
fun.
kind of fun, regardless.
Mm.
Sometimes it's all right to be on the
Yeah.
nose, but as soon as I said it, I was like, Ew, no, that doesn't work for me at all.
I will say
It's
yes.
too late.
If I haven't, I won't say what the word is specifically, but yes, Fairlos is one of those names and where I found a corresponding name in a different language. And her last name Lout is also it's related. And so, and her brother Fro, same thing. Those are words in a different language that mean a thing.
I
Um,
let's see. Started out, let's see, Dominique. I just needed a French name that sounded cool, and I like the name Dominique. Menon. I'm not going to lie, I had watched The Craft and remembered that name and was like, oh, that kind of tied in with the sea when they were on the beach. Yeah, I'll go with that. Tallulah is my favorite LARP character. I used
Aw.
that name from my favorite LARP character, Tallulah O'Draken. She was from a country called Baranor, which was basically Scotland. And originally, when I started playing her, I was like, okay, she's going to be this kind of quiet, sort of in the back character who is sneaky and this and that. I got in game for 5 minutes and was yelling across sight in a Scottish accent, being just obnoxious. I fought with a bastard sword. I was the only girl at the game fighting with a bastard sword. And it was about as tall as I was, but I could wear it on my back.
Mm.
And they had to buy her fidelity at one point because she fell in love with a Fey Lord and then cheated on him with a mortal guy. So she got in a little trouble and forgot who she was, and they had to buy her fidelity
Ooh.
off a merchant.
Oof.
Yeah,
I,
it was pretty great.
Interesting. I will say I did spend a lot of time coming up with like the noble houses names
Hmm.
for the various things. Like Malise is I like alliterative names, which I'm sure
Yes,
everyone has already figured out. The leader of House Fontaine is Fantine Fontaine. And
Fantine
then
Fontaine.
uh Malice is technically like her mother doesn't use the noble name that they have, but that's House Lemaire, which
The
does
sea?
matter. It
Why do
actually
I
matters.
recognize that name?
Well, Lemaire is like French for literally just French for like the
The
mayor.
sea.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, it depends on the spelling.
yeah. The
MEREC.
version I've got here is literally just the mayor, and their descent. The only reason they're nobles is they're descended from the people who were the mayor of Brescia when the empire fell.
Oh, okay.
Ooh,
I'm
that
hearing
okay.
I'm hearing a different La
Wait a minute.
Mer because you
Yeah.
spell it differently. It is the
Fontaine.
sea. Yeah.
Fontaine is a noble family in Brescia who's related to the mayor.
No, Fontaines are related to the De La Fontaines
Yeah, that's what I was
originally.
confused by because I
Yeah,
know Monsieur de la Fontaine said that he was the mayor of
he was the
the
mayor of Avalen.
yeah. And so I was like, wait a minute, Fontaine, noble house, tied in with the other fallen city.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what happened. Well, yeah, to some degree, the other Fallen City, everyone there died, but that's not here nor there.
Yeah.
Uh, no, yeah, the Fontaines are what's left of the. Essentially, they were a cousin cadet house of,
Okay.
or they were a cadet house of the De La Fontaines,
Mm-hmm.
and when the De La Fontaines went extinct, they took their place in the social order.
Got
Uh,
it. Okay.
which only is true because I screwed up. That was not a plan. That was not a plan from the beginning. I used Fontaine and I used De La Fontaine, and Jennifer called me out on it as them being similar, and I was like,
I think that was
"Fuck."
me.
No, I remember she did it
Last
specifically. You might
game,
have done it too.
okay.
No, this was actually a long time ago
Oh, got it. Okay.
when it came up,
Got
and she called me out on it, and I was like, "Fuck!" Now I need to have it make sense.
it. Yep. Oh God, now I have to connect dots.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff.
But you
I
do a
mean,
really, really good job with rolling with stuff, and that was actually one of the selling points when I approached Lauren, Latia, and Jen.
It
Um,
was.
one of my selling points was that Sumerian knows how to roll with punches. He knows how to adapt, and he's real good at bringing uh, player concept and our beliefs and things we come up with into the game, which I absolutely love. I think it makes it so much more fun when you're also helping build the world. Hydrate.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not gonna say I'm like an expert DM because this is like what my third. This technically is my third game ever, but like just steal from your players; they'll really appreciate it.
It's not stealing. It is collaborating
We
and
are
Yeah.
we are gifting you.
being
yeah,
being a
you're not
DM
writing a
who
novel.
yeah, being a DM who understands that automatically puts you ahead of a lot of other DMs. So
Well, I like to talk about my game experience, and then I'm like, I've only got 3 games, but that's because none of my games have ended in the way that a lot of other people's games end up ending. First one ran all the way from 1 to 20. The second one
nice.
is still ongoing, and this one is still ongoing. They're all
We're
3
doing a
at this
train
point.
heist.
This is the 3rd game that I have run, and it is about to hit a year. And the other one's at 2.5 years, I think. And then the other one ran for 3.5 years. So I've just not the reason why I have a lot of game DMing experience with just 3 games because I haven't had to switch between games.
Yeah.
I need to run something so you can actually play at some point.
I would love to play in a game. Oh my god. I have
Yeah.
a game on Wednesdays. It's fine.
Hey, here's an idea. What about if I do a one shot one week so you can actually PC?
I would love that. Oh, you mean on the
Yeah,
show, right? Because yeah,
yeah.
we should do some little like
We could do
stuff
like
like
a
that every
little
once in a while.
vignette and do a
Yeah,
one
yeah,
shot and you can play and actually get to
yeah.
PC.
If you got an idea or a
I
concept,
do
then
actually.
please.
I
Oh,
have
perfect.
a setting concept thing that I wrote that
Oh, you don't want to just run something in this world in the dream.
actually it could tie in perfectly. It's Spelljammer.
Oh man, I love Spelljammer so much. I want to play Spelljammer so much.
Okay,
want to play
I
the whole
will
Spelljammer
Well,
run
there
a
you go.
Spelljammer one shot.
There you go. Well,
I
dang.
I want to play Spelljammer so much. Actually, this reminded me. We were talking about music and stuff earlier. There's a song that's going into the public domain next year. Dream a Little Dream of Me. The
Oh,
version you're
Dream a
thinking of is probably
little
the
dream
Mamas and the Papas
of me.
version, or maybe one of the more recent ones. But it first came out long enough ago that it's entering the
Oh
public
my god.
domain on the 1st of next year, and I guarantee you, we're gonna have that song's gonna show up in this game
Oh,
if we're still
yeah.
playing at that point.
I
Uh,
think we make that the credits.
that would be so. No, actually,
You want to do that?
I had thought about it as the song. If we could find someone who could do a cover of it for us,
I
to
know
put it in
people.
as the introductory, the music over the intro, and like build an actual intro for it. But yeah, no, that's
So I told you about my friend that was the musician
did.
at Ren Fair.
Mhm.
She actually has a whole group, and they could definitely do a cover of it in a Renaissance style.
That'd be pretty
Oh,
cool.
that'd be cool.
I think
That'd
that'd
be
be
very, very cool.
fabulous. I'll
We
talk
should-
to Angie.
We should talk about not only that idea, but also this one shot idea. But I think I have to go because this thunderstorm is getting bad.
Oh, no.
And,
Okay.
We
and-
actually could be. I mean, we're at the end of the questions. It looks like so.
yeah,
we could
and I'm
probably,
I'm worried I'm gonna lose power because we don't get
I understand.
thunderstorms here in the Pacific Northwest. This doesn't happen.
I
Yeah.
understand. Let's just let's say we're. I mean, yeah. Let's go ahead and call
Yeah.
it then. It's been a pleasure, everyone. Thank
Yeah.
you for coming to our show. We will see you. I'm pretty sure you guys could correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure we have a game next week, right?
Yes.
I believe so, but we'll
We'll double
announce it
check. We'll post on
Yeah.
socials.
because
Post on
we'll
socials.
now have moved the this which normally happens some other time is now happening this time.
Yeah, that's true. And it's been a pleasure. Let's go. I'm going to go over the credits really quickly.
Yeah.
Cartography by Shane Peku. Cartography by Shane Peku Sci-Fi. Maps by Luke Stratton. Maps by Eightfold Paper. Music by Tabletop Audio. Character tokens by Greek 46. Custom tokens by Shane Peku Tokens. Overlay art by Pack Stream. Custom world map by Freckles Sketches. Logo by Luke McCay. And also some custom character art by Luke McCay. And special thank you to Billith and Strike Red Kite. And I think that's it, unless you guys have something you want to plug.
I do actually. I am going to be at MomoCon coming up.
Hey.
It is going to be the weekend of, let me pull up dates. I believe the 23rd through the 25th. So if you are near to Atlanta or looking for a cool excuse to come to Atlanta, head on down. It's at the Georgia World Congress Center. It's full of geeks. It's wonderful. I love it. I've gone for several years now, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So come on out. I'm doing panels. It's going to be great. I'm even moderating one. God help them.
Yeah, nice.
Oh God, I'm sorry. You're talking about the storms, Lauren. I was remembering the name of the last episode, which was the chariot on the. It's a quote from what is it? Camus. It's freedom, that terrible word inscribed on the chariot of the storm.
Ooh,
Uh, anyway, on that note,
well, I'm not familiar with that. It sounds cool.
Me neither, but now I'm curious.
Yeah.
peace out, everybody, and try not to die.
Oh, wait.
Bye. Or
Wait,
wait.
credits. Bye.